this week? Is it a different week? Are we still in training camp mode? Are we still in preparation mode? How do we kind of go about this week?
Great question. Today is really our last August part of what we're doing, and then tomorrow we are full tilt on Lafayette. And so, we've already done a summer game plan. The first 2.5 weeks here, a good bit of what we've done we feel like will translate when we play Lafayette. And then tomorrow, that's every bit of that will be the case.
So what does that transition look like? Are you guys, when you say looking at game plan, are we doing more film? Are we actually strategizing on what they're doing, or how does that go about?
Yeah, so many of the looks that you provide in practice to your players in the first 2.5 weeks of August are for various things you think maybe you could see once you get into the season. And we might take a day where it's, like Florida Atlantic's a new opponent, Utah State's a new opponent just with new staff or a team you haven't played in a little bit. We may take a day and work on some things that those two or like I said, some of those squads you're going to face in September do. But more than else, what you're doing is you're just truly trying to embed your system. And so your system's a fairly large menu, and then tomorrow you're going to be specific to, what you're going to do for the Lafayette game.
And I got a curveball for you, okay? So today, the Pac-12, the ACC, and the Big Ten came together saying that they're going to have an alliance moving forward to make sure the Power 5 conferences stay the same. Any thought on that for you and what they're doing with that?
I think the first thing, what's that really mean, right? Golly, just to say that you have an alliance, if there's the North America, NATO, what does that pact or that alliance really mean? Does that mean that some countries only contribute 0.1% and somebody else has got to carry a large burden of that? Or you say, well, wait a second now, are we really serving everybody's best interests there? We're out of that alliance. You don't know what that truly means in the long haul.
Are you surprised by how much college football, that landscape has been changing in terms of with the SEC and everything like that?
I no, because I think so much of what you have is you're forecasting from a market standpoint. I think there's probably a school that said, hey, we got to do something different or whatnot, and I think one school probably pushed that pretty hard. South of Dallas there about 3.5 hours, that said that's how it should apply. And I don't think that's done though either. You look, if there's an 8-team conference, which there currently is, what's that mean down the road? Does that mean they go get 4 other schools? I think we'll see what ends up happening. But if we'll see as time unfolds. I think we all have our guesses, but that's what they are, our guesses, and so probably shouldn't share those too much.
Coach, how are you today?
Very well. Are you doing okay?
Yes, yeah. So in the secondary, James Jones coming back. He's a senior this year. What are your expectations for him this season?
Well, James has been here, he has some time, certainly in grade, and just a remarkable young man. Great energy, bright, very, very passionate about football. Just one of those guys, just absolutely love being around him. And you felt that from the get-go in recruiting, sitting in his home, and really quite a credit to his mom and dad and his family. But the drive that he has, the perseverance, a guy that has a ton of leadership ability. And he's got grit, he's got fight. He relates when it comes to the people part of it extremely well. And somebody you're proud to say that's a part of our team.
And you mentioned his family, his dad, a football coach as well. Curious, you as a head coach, do you notice when one of your players comes from a family where their dad is a coach, do they see the game a little differently than some other players?
Well, they have background, that's for sure. You look James Jones, his dad extensively as a coach. One of our tackles, Marquis Stan, his dad, one of the best offensive line coaches maybe ever. You look out there and we have a freshman, Calais Gibbs, and he had a grandfather that maybe the best offensive line coach ever. I mean, just, inherently those guys have been around the game for a long time. And so, they see details really, really well. They have an eagerness, and yet they also have darn good poise. But probably more than anything else, they understand the camaraderie, the team part of football too.
Hi, I'm Sam Allen. I'm with Behind the Lines. And Graham Knight wanted me to ask you a couple questions. First one is, why don't you do team captains? And what does having game captains give you?
Well, we have done team captains. Many years we have. There have been some seasons where we've done game captains. This year we will do team captains. I do think the one thing that's the biggest thing just to make sure that's conveyed is that leadership can be an individual responsibility, but a collective one too, and everybody can play a part that way. I just think I know when I was here initially, I like, especially for older guys, our seniors, to feel like, hey, here's a way where we can impact the direction of our team, and rather than just saying it's solely 3 or 4 guys that can do that. And I think we just got to make sure everybody knows that's the case. We do we'll do captains. There's certain semesters where we'll have a leadership council. We'll have at least one player from every position group, at least 2 players from each class. They're a part of that, and yet I want anybody to bring me ideas. And I think more than anything else, I just want to make sure that guys feel and know they can absolutely communicate with any of our coaches at any time. Thank you. Where'd you get it?
Falcon Vision.
Oh, okay.
Those guys are clutch.
Yeah.
And you talked about sons of coaches. What about sons of players? Obviously, Kyle Patterson's dad was playing in the NFL. Micah Davis, it sounds like his dad has a pretty extensive football history too. Do you see anything as a general rule when that's the case?
Yeah, we do take that into consideration when we're recruiting a coach's son. Or somebody's, if a dad's played football for a while for the Green Bay Packers for a number of years, or, there's some background, maybe some pedigree, maybe there's an older sibling that's also played. I think most certainly it's a factor.
And do you see anything that tends to be inherited in terms of just
Sometimes.
the expectations?
No, not that. I mean, they're their own person.
Well, I mean,
don't
family
think
expectations or understanding, I guess, of what it takes.
Yeah, I think that's maybe some of the exposure they've had to the game. Maybe they've digested the game at a little deeper level, and like I said earlier, some of the particulars, whether it's field awareness, some of the communication. Certain situations, just having some of that background can be beneficial. I don't ever want to recruit a kid where he feels like he has to play football because his parents said that. That's not fair to the kid.
Yeah, again, it wasn't so much the expectation. It was just that you understand what it takes to what you have to put into it, what you have to pour into it.
Yes, sir. They could. I don't want to say it's absolutely always the case because it's not. But yes, sir, they could.
And with Micah Davis in particular, I kind of looked into his background, and he had some pretty good teammates in high school, especially early on.
Yeah.
When you recruit somebody with that kind of, when they've played at that level in Georgia or something like that, what do you see when you're evaluating? What does that usually mean when they come here?
Well, I think, we always look at quality of competition that you compete against. Like for us, we got a pretty big jump that we're gonna have to make here in the next couple of years, just because we don't have that many guys that have played, and and that's probably at 18, 19 positions. But maybe if you can look back a little bit, and they had some good, really good encounters in high school, there can be some experiences from which they're able to draw.
And did you have to recruit him away from baseball at all? Not
He was,
necessarily.
like I said the other day, I mean, he was, golly, I mean, he could have played more than football. I mean, he was pretty talented.
And with Omar Fatah, who's coming in the room
Mm-hmm.
today, you know, what does he bring at fullback? What do you see as his skill set?
Yeah, he first of all, just the drive, the heart, the character that he has, just tremendous leader, outstanding competitor. I can still remember when we recruited him, just the feedback that Ben Miller was recruiting him, just the feedback from the high school, from St. Ed's, that just exceptional kid, as good a leader as they'd ever had at that high school, and just the way people gravitated towards him. His energy, his feeling for others, and with the way he played football, that probably only helped too.
Good. So reading your bio on the website today, it said last year you found out you were probably the best cook on the team.
Yes.
How did that come to be?
Just with COVID going on, had a lot of time to go home and kind of find some newfound talents. I wouldn't even say it's a newfound. I just think having time away from the academy to be able to do things like cook. So I would put my dishes against a lot of my teammates.
What are your best dishes?
I'm a big breakfast guy, so my stuffed French toast are pretty top tier.
What did you do last season when you weren't playing?
I was at home. I took a turn back. Was able to kind of provide some stability for my family, as I'm sure the pandemic kind of shook a lot of households. So it was nice to be around my family and be able to do that for them, and just training and keep myself in shape.
And as far as your senior year goes, what are some expectations you have for yourself?
Just be the best player I can be. Come in every day and try to take my game to the level where, my team is dependent on me to help our success this season, and being able to do that.
And then in the secondary, just what are some goals that you have for the secondary as a whole, and kind of just being a leader in that unit, in that room?
Just being able to have us compete to be the top secondary in the conference, but not only in the conference, to be competitive nationally. We have a lot of talent. We have a lot of hard-working guys, blue-collar guys who I believe can make a large impact, and I think just the competitiveness in our room will take us far.
And your dad being a football coach, what's it like growing up as a coach's son, and how do you think that's impacted your game?
I've loved it. It's a lot of pressure for sure, but it's definitely something that I've enjoyed, and it's helped me with my career and being able to understand, the ins and outs of football, and understand, top to bottom from coaching to being a player. So.
How would Gordon Ramsay? You know who Gordon Ramsay is, right?
Yes, sir.
How would he rate your food? Would he kick you out of the kitchen? Would he say it's an A+? What do you think on that?
I personally think that I would probably be middle tier for Gordon Ramsay. I watch a couple cooking shows here and there, so I see the things that are being made, and I don't think I've been able to invest enough time to be able to compete at that high level yet, but I have some hidden talents.
One more question on that is if President Biden asked you to cook a meal for him, what would that meal be for him?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would probably say, I make this kind of chicken parmesan, but I bake it like a casserole, and it's pretty good.
It's fire.
Yes,
I
sir.
love it. I love it. All right, so let's talk football, okay?
Yes, sir.
Because that's what you're here for. Coach said, hey, with these turnback guys like yourself, it could either be a 4-week process or a 4-month process in getting reacclimated to everything. Do you feel like you guys are more reacclimated? Are we back in the swing of things, or is there still plenty to learn?
It's always a lot to learn. I think just how we are as a team, we strive to go farther than what's seen in front of us. So I just think it's one of those things where, we're going at hyper speed, and we're definitely getting better a lot faster, but where we want to be is well past where we are now. So we just keep striving for that big goal.
The chemistry with the turnback guys, is it back? Do you feel like it's 2019 a little bit yet, or are we still trying to, get all on the same page and know where everyone's supposed to be and everything?
We're definitely a cohesive unit. I think we have different personalities in 2019, so we're our own team, you know, and we try not to compare ourselves to the past and try to, you know, create our own image. And in doing that, we got a lot of young guys with experience. We got a lot of older guys with experience, and it makes it competitive and it makes it an atmosphere where everyone's eager to be able to learn and be able to kind of bounce off of each other talent-wise.
Calhoun said today is the last day of really quote-unquote training camp. Tomorrow you guys are going to start getting ready for the season. With that, does that get you excited? How do you manage that? Because, again, it's still a week and a half away, but at the same time you are preparing for what could be a game in 3 weeks from now that's super important.
Yeah, definitely I think just staying present in where we're at. You know, we're still in camp. You know, tomorrow is technically season, but today we're still in camp. So our focus is just putting the pieces together and keep striving so we can be ready when it's time to play.
When you say you went home, where is home now? Is it still?
So home is in Denver, Colorado. So my family's up there.
Is your dad still in California, or where is he coaching?
No, sir. He's here as well. So my whole family is up in Denver.
So what year did you graduate high school?
I graduated in 2015.
Okay. So, like, what are some of the people you graduated with doing now?
A lot of people are in pilot training. I got a lot of friends that are in the NFL. I got a lot of friends who have been owning businesses for a year or two. So I've definitely been just enjoying my own process and kind of enjoying everyone else's, but being able to, you know, center myself and be excited for what's to come for me.
And how old are you now?
I'm 24.
What is that? How does that help you? You know, to have something that most Air Force players don't get to have, which is that age.
I think it provides maturity, definitely insight on the daily grind. You learn how to not be as reactive or emotional to the daily ups and downs that comes with being here at the academy, and I just think it's one of those things where it's helped me, and I think it will give me an advantage in some places, just being able to center myself and stay focused on my own goals.
And the position battle you have going on at corner, how important is it to you to win that and to get on the field? Because I know you're one of the guys who's pursuing the NFL potentially and all of that. Like, I would think step one is get on the field. So what does that mean to you to earn that?
I mean, it's everything, you know, and I could probably speak on the rest of my teammates. We're all highly competitive. We all want to play, and, you know, it's nothing that tears at the fibers of the room. I think it actually makes us stronger because I just think we all have the same end goal, and that kind of push, that iron sharpen iron, is what makes us great. So I'm excited just to keep competing, and I know when my time arrives, my time will arrive, and I'll be ready to go. So.
And I know in the past you were one of the fastest players on the team, if not the fastest. What are you measuring now?
I would like to say I'm still the fastest on the team. I mean, no one has challenged me for the crown, but I've run in the lower 4.3s, so, you know, and I do a lot of track work, so hopefully we can stay there or be faster.
And do you have an idea of where that position battle's going? I mean, are you with the two still, or do you know?
I mean, it's up in the air. I mean, it's changing every day. It's a very kind of fluid and volatile competition in the room, so it looks different every day. So it's just kind of sticking your head down and just keep working.
And then what's your perspective of Trey Taylor? He's one of the few guys back there we haven't really seen yet. What is he going to bring? I'm
excited to see what TT brings. He's a young guy who has tremendous talent, and he's someone I'm excited to see where his career goes once he does get game experience, because he already has a lot of flashes and sparks of greatness, and you know, taking guys like that and trying to show them how to move over the mistakes that I've made when I was a young guy playing, and just being able to, you know, bring that room together is big.
And then when game day arrives, you know, because you have all this perspective and you've had to wait through a lot of seasons, what's it going to mean to you to get on the field again?
I mean, it'll mean everything. I mean, I love football. I love football as much as I love anything else, and coming from a football family, it's a livelihood, it's a lifestyle. So it's more than just a game to me. And every opportunity that I get to step on the field, even practices, I enjoy. And so I'm excited for sure.
And did Coach Rudd pull you aside on the day that it looked like the season was canceled and have a conversation about the fact that your career might be over? Do you remember that?
I just approached the coaches and just told them, more on what the pandemic was affecting my family. And I think everything just aligned in my favor. They definitely were in support and helping me and my family and the things I had going on at home. So I think that was a huge part.
Before the turnback decision, just when you thought, was there a time when you thought you were done playing football?
It happened so fast, it never really even crossed my mind. I was just trying to stay ahead of the pandemic, really.
I'm curious because, you have the beard, and I heard you had to get a waiver for that. Mm-hmm. And obviously the conversation we had then, your faith is so important to you. Is that still something, now that you're going to get on the field, you want to convey? Is there a message you want to send about who you are?
I'm just proud of my faith. There's really nothing much more to it than that. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of where I come from. Just being able to represent my faith in the utmost manner, with honor, with respect, with dignity, a lot with the core values that we have here at the Air Force Academy. Those values that line directly with my faith. So being able to represent my faith, football, my family, it's an honor.
And when you walk around campus with the beard, obviously that stands out. Do you get many questions or looks?
I do. Some people are a little alarmed at first. Like some people are like, oh, that's non-regs. And I've had a few people come up to me and, kind of be a little hasty with me. But once I tell them, like, hey, this is part of my religion, I have a waiver for it. Everything's good to go. And everyone's very understanding, very respectful of my faith.
And on the football field, now, I assume, things are looking like you're going to play some at fullback. What kind of fullback are you going to be? You're going to be one of the run-first guys we've seen blocking? What do you want to be?
My plan is just to be the best fullback I can be. If that means, being, a key runner or key blocker, whatever I can do to help aid my team in winning, whether it's a CIC or a bowl game, every game, my plan is to be the best fullback I can be for my team.
And what have you done with your size? Are you playing lighter now, heavier? Have you had to adjust that based on
I did lose a little bit of weight, just try to be a little bit focused on more about athleticism and stuff like that. But, I'm still very powerful, ready to hit people, love to hit people, going to run through people. That's my plan.
And when you've seen what that position can be, there's been some pretty big numbers put up at that spot the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. Does that excite you, that prospect?
Oh, very much, very much. And, with the way our offense works, we're always going to play with more than one guy, and being able to contribute, to the team in any way, shape, or form is going to be, a blessing. And I think we all at our depth chart, we have a lot of great guys at our position, Brad Roberts, E-Man, me, myself, and some younger guys underneath us are talented as well. So, we all have the ability, that's for sure, to produce big numbers on the field, whether it's yardage or pancakes. You're gonna see a lot of things coming from the fullback room this year.
And then I remember early in the pandemic, you posted a video of some of the workouts you were doing. What were some of the things you did, and how creative were you with that whole process?
Just during Corona and everything. I mean, more than anything, it was just about having fun. Woke up every day, did my classes online, then found some type of way to get better. Whether it was in my garage or my driveway and doing sprints in the street. Having my brother, giving me handoffs, whatever I could do to get better, during, that pandemic and current pandemic, I did what I had to do. And it was a fun process. It's definitely an experience.
And when you went back home as a turnback, was it a little? Could you get into a gym at that point?
Yeah.
Was it a little easier than it was in that spring?
Yeah, being at home on turnback was a blessing. Being able to spend time with family. Especially during the circumstances that was going on in the world. Being able to give some peace of mind to my family, as well as just grinding. Working out twice a day sometimes. Just putting everything I had into it, knowing that I'm going to come here and I'm going to make a difference on my team this year.
What did it mean to you, to escape from the grind of this place for a few months and to be able to kind of recenter yourself? Like, how did you come back different?
Definitely put things in perspective. This place is really hard, but sometimes you forget how privileged we are here at the academy. At the academy, you're guaranteed 3 meals a day. You might go home and you might not be guaranteed that. A lot of kids here, they truly are blessed, and sometimes we get away from that. And so it truly is, going home was a blessing. That if I had to make the choice again, I would do it all over again. So it was definitely a blessing, definitely worth it. I believe I really improved myself in terms of my character, myself as a man. I got stronger in my faith. I got stronger as a person. My physical abilities, I feel more athletic, stronger, better. So overall, my mind is more prepared to be here and more happier to be here.
And then being away from football for as long as you have, at least games, what's the opener going to be like, to run out there with fans in the stands and everything else?
It's going to be exciting. Definitely long overdue, that's for sure. Definitely long overdue. I'm just very excited to get out there, excited to win with my team. It's going to be a great time.
For you, when you look at that fullback room, I know we were just saying, like, hey, there's a lot of talent in there. Would you rather carve out a role in terms of, okay, this is what I'm good at, Brad's good at this, he's good at that, or is it, hey, let's all be jack of all trades, be a Swiss Army knife?
Definitely a Swiss Army knife. If I had to look at it, we're kind of like a three-headed dragon, right? Like, we can all do it all. We're gonna burn you. We're gonna hit you. Whatever it is, we're all capable of doing everything. I proved it during spring ball. Busted out a bunch of runs. Showed my speed. Showed that I can be a runner, be someone who can be reliable, know my job, know how I can contribute to my team, as well as everybody, above and below us. I feel like we're all gonna be able to contribute in a way that's going to help our team win.
I know we had asked Brad this a couple weeks ago, right at the beginning of camp. How's the offensive line coming together? Brand new, 5 new guys up there, and those are the guys you got to take out to lunch for those 3 meals a day you're talking about. But how have they kind of cohesiveness come together with those guys?
I think just like any O-line, their ability to work together is really going to determine, our success as a team. And I think they're doing a great job so far. Coach Lobo does a great job in getting them ready to go. And we do definitely have some leaders on the O-line, like Hawk Wimmer, Ryan Booth, guys who have played, who, know the offense, who are great athletes and overall great teammates. And I really think that, our success as a team is going to start there.
High school, did very well on the high school level. Is there anything you can take from that and translate it to the college game? I know it's completely different in terms of just talent level, but is there anything like, okay, you haven't played a real football game in God knows how long. Yeah. So is there any way you can take one thing from the other?
Yeah. In high school, I was a linebacker. I played linebacker, all 4 years at high school. I loved hitting people. I truly did love hitting people. So I'm really looking forward to that. Just being able to get on the field, get that passion, that energy. There's nothing like lining across from a man and saying, hey, I'm going to put you on the ground. Like, there's nothing quite like it. It's a pure form of dominance, and I'm looking forward to dominating again.
Calhoun said your leadership was off the charts in high school. How can you take that, what you did in high school, leadership-wise specifically, and bring it to the Air Force Academy, which is basically a bunch of leaders on this team?
This summer, actually, I had the opportunity of working basic, and I was in charge of running, like, the health and safety. I worked as a safety medical officer, so I had the opportunity to contribute as a leader for over 4,000 basics, that came in this year. So, being able to take my leadership qualities that I've, learned over the years here at the academy and throughout high school, it was a blessing. And, I really felt like I've grown as a leader. And, just like how I, learned, a lot of stuff this past summer working basic training, I've learned a ton just here at the academy, on the football field. There's no better form of leadership, in my opinion, than in team sports. You truly learn to work with one another in a unit, cohesive, one-minded goal, one-minded atmosphere. So I think I've done a pretty good job. Just overall, lead with action. Actions speak louder than words. If you can be someone on a team who's someone always reliable, someone can come to you for help, whether it's about football, school, or just stuff back home. So I'm looking forward to contributing in that aspect as well.
A lot of the skill position guys we've seen, or at least I've seen in practice over the years. One guy I'm not familiar with is Micah Davis. Like, what have you? I know you're not in the same room necessarily with him, but you're on the same offense. Yeah. What have you seen from him and what he could bring?
Well, me and Mike are actually locker buddies, so I actually see him every day. We're right next to each other. But athlete. The kid is an athlete. If you look about his upbringing, his whole family's full of athletes. He had offers to Georgia, I'm pretty sure, for baseball. He's in the 8th grade. So it's impressive. And seeing him on the field, the dude is so charismatic. He's making plays left and right, and he's just fun to be around. He's one of those guys, where you're around, he lifts you up, he has good energy. He's not complaining about practice or this or that. He he comes in, he's ready to compete, ready to have a good time, and that's somebody you want to play with.
And as a locker buddy, what is he like as a person? You know, what have you gotten to know there
He's
away
just-
from the field?
He's just a funny kid, man. He's a good kid. He always got a smile on his face, you know. You always want to be around someone who has a smile on their face.